Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Good Reasons series with Pastor Kurt. We're going to go down another rabbit hole. You're going to hear that a lot from me, I believe, is why everything depends on God. And this is a theological argument. Let me ask you a simple question. Why does anything exist at all? Not just how things work, not just how things change, but why does anything exist and keep existing in the first place? Scripture gives us a clear answer. Everything that exists depends on God. And that idea rests on three connected truths: creation, providence, and causation. So first, creation. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." That statement does something important. It places God before creation. God is not part of the universe. He's not one being among many. He exists independently. Everything else does not. John chapter 1, it says, "All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made." Now, that's exhaustive language. If something exists, God made it. And if God made everything, then nothing exists on its own. God alone is self-existent. Okay, that's the idea there. Everything else is dependent. That's what theologians call ontological dependence. It simply means this: you do not exist because you have the power to exist. You exist because God gives existence. Okay? Second, providence, or continued dependence. Sometimes people think God created the world and then stepped back, but Scripture does not describe that. Hebrews chapter 1 says, "Christ is upholding all things by the word of his power." Colossians says, "In him all things hold together." Acts chapter 17 says, "In him we live and move and have our being." Notice the language. Not held together in the past, it's held together now. So creation is not like a wind-up clock that runs on its own. It is sustained moment by God's will. If God stopped sustaining reality, it would not slowly break down. It would cease to exist. Creation depends on God, not just for its beginning, but for every moment of its existence. The third argument here is primary and secondary causes. Now here's the big question. If God sustains everything, do our actions matter? Do we really act at all? Scripture avoids these errors. It avoids deism, the idea that God created the world and then walked away. It avoids pantheism, the idea that God is the world, like we are God, God is the world. It avoids determinism, the idea that creatures don't really act at all. We're just autonomous, non-autonomous beings walking around. Instead, it teaches this: God is the primary cause. Creation operates as a real secondary cause. Here's a simple illustration. Imagine a computer server running a massive open world video game. Every character, every moment, every interaction happens within the world the server sustains. If the server shuts down, the world doesn't slowly collapse, it disappears instantly. But while it's running, the characters operate within real internal rules. It's a limited analogy, but it helps. God sustains reality. Within that sustained reality, creatures genuinely act. Your choices are real. Your agency is real, but it is derivative. You act within a world that only exists because God continuously upholds it. So what does all this mean? It means existence is not self-explanatory. Reality is not self-sustaining. The universe is not self-subsisting. Everything that begins exists because God created it. Everything that continues to exist exists because God sustains it. And everything that acts does so within a framework grounded in God's sustaining power. Scripture doesn't just give us isolated doctrines, it gives us a unified picture. God is self-existent, creation is dependent, providence sustains it, and causation flows from him while preserving real creaturely agency. That framework avoids deism, it avoids pantheism, it avoids determinism, and it provides a coherent explanation for why reality exists, why it endures, and why it functions the way it does. Everything depends on God, not just in the beginning, but right now as well. Thank you for watching Good Reasons with Pastor Kurt. Until next time.